What happens when an unassuming planet, dismissed as primitive by the galaxy's mightiest empires, turns the tide of interstellar war with nothing but scraps and sheer will? You won't believe how humanity's first strike against the Vrachthian hegemony sparked a chain reaction that left even the most powerful species questioning their place in the cosmos. Deep within the Andromeda sector, where ancient empires ruled with cold indifference, news spread like wildfire. A primitive species from Sol 3 had dared to challenge the established order. At first, it seemed laughable, an insignificant race with no interstellar fleet or advanced weaponry. Yet their audacity caught everyone off guard. Their initial act? A daring raid on one of the most fortified trade routes controlled by the Vrachthian hegemony. Using nothing more than salvage tech and sheer ingenuity, they crippled an entire convoy carrying rare minerals essential for starship construction. It wasn't just the victory itself that shocked observers. It was the message embedded in every destroyed vessel. We're here, and we won't back down. The raid sent shockwaves through the galactic community. Observers began to ask questions. Who were these humans? What drove them to risk everything for such a bold move? The answers lay in humanity's unique nature. A blend of curiosity, adaptability, and an unrelenting will to survive. Unlike many other species, humans thrived under pressure. They viewed challenges not as insurmountable obstacles but as opportunities to grow stronger. This mindset became evident when analysts dissected the raid's aftermath. Instead of retreating into obscurity, humanity doubled down, fortifying their position and preparing for the inevitable retaliation. As word of the raid reached other factions, disbelief quickly gave way to intrigue, and then concern. The KRYLL Collective, known for their mastery of espionage, sent operatives to investigate these so-called upstarts. What they found astonished even the most seasoned agents. Humanity wasn't merely reacting out of desperation. They were evolving at an unprecedented rate. From reverse engineering capture technology to developing entirely new forms of combat strategy, they adapted faster than any species the KRYLL had ever encountered. But adaptation alone couldn't explain their success. There was something else driving them, something deeper. Observers began noticing patterns in human behavior during conflicts. They fought not just to win but to protect each other, forming bonds that transcended individual survival. This communal spirit baffled outsiders who viewed such loyalty as inefficient. Little did they know, this unity would become humanity's greatest weapon. Take, for instance, the story of Captain Elena Vasquez, a decorated officer whose leadership exemplified this ethos. During a skirmish near Jupiter's orbit, her squadron faced overwhelming odds against a superior enemy force. Rather than retreat, Vasquez rallied her crew, coordinating a series of feints and counterattacks that turned the tide of battle. Her actions saved countless lives and earned her a reputation as a fearless tactician. Stories like hers inspired others to push beyond their limits, creating a culture of resilience that permeated every level of society. You don't want to miss what comes next. We've barely begun unraveling the layers behind humanity's rise. Keep watching to witness how these traits transform skirmishes into full-scale wars. Meanwhile, across the Orion Arm, tensions simmered between rival powers. The Zorith Dominion, notorious for their expansionist policies, saw humanity as both a threat and an opportunity. If assimilated, humans could provide fresh resources and innovation. If eliminated, they posed less risk to future conquests. Diplomatic overtures failed miserably, however, as envoys returned empty-handed, claiming negotiations broke down due to irrational stubbornness. What followed was inevitable. The Zorith launched a punitive expedition aimed at crushing Earth once and for all. Massive dreadnoughts descended upon the solar system, blotting out the sun with their bulk. For weeks, orbital bombardments rained destruction upon planetary defenses. Cities crumbled, skies burned, and hope dwindled, but never vanished. In the darkest hour, a coalition of resistance fighters emerged from underground bunkers. Armed with improvised armaments and fueled by rage, they struck back with ferocity unmatched by seasoned warriors. Pilots flew kamikaze runs against capital ships while engineers rigged traps using scavenged parts. Each loss fueled another surge forward, turning despair into determination. One particularly harrowing engagement took place above Luna, where a small group of volunteers sacrificed themselves to disable a key enemy relay station. Their actions allowed reinforcements to arrive unexpectedly, tipping the scales in humanity's favor. These moments of heroism weren't anomalies. They were emblematic of a people unwilling to surrender, no matter the cost. Victory came at a cost. The battle against the Zorith left scars etched deep into Earth's surface and psyche. Billions perished, ecosystems collapsed, and infrastructure lay in ruins. Yet amidst the devastation, something remarkable occurred. Survivors banded together, pooling knowledge and skills to rebuild stronger than before. Scientists worked tirelessly to refine technologies gleaned from fallen enemies, creating hybrid systems tailor-made for human use. One breakthrough stood above the rest: quantum resonance drives capable of bending spacetime. These engines allowed ships to traverse light years in mere moments, effectively neutralizing traditional advantages held by older civilizations. With mobility secured, humanity embarked on its first true offensive campaign. Fleets departed Sol, targeting key strongholds belonging to oppressive regimes. Each strike carried dual purposes: liberating oppressed worlds and securing strategic footholds. Word of these actions traveled fast, inspiring downtrodden populations to rise up against their overlords. Suddenly, the galaxy realized humanity wasn't fighting solely for themselves. They championed freedom for all. For example, consider the liberation of the Zyran cluster, a region long subjugated by the Vrakthian hegemony. When human forces arrived, they didn't impose their rule. Instead, they empowered local leaders to govern themselves. This approach fostered goodwill and strengthened alliances, proving that humanity's crusade was rooted in compassion rather than conquest. With momentum building, alliances formed around humanity's banner. Former adversaries, impressed by their tenacity, offered support in exchange for protection. Together, they forged a coalition unlike anything seen before, a patchwork army united by shared ideals rather than conquest. Battles grew larger, more complex, involving dozens of species operating side by side. One particularly brutal engagement took place near the Cygnus Rift. An Alliance stronghold faced annihilation as enemy forces closed in. Outnumbered and outgunned, defenders prepared for the end. Then, from the void, reinforcements arrived, human squadrons executing a daring flanking maneuver. Ships materialized seemingly out of nowhere, unleashing barrages of plasma torpedoes and EMP bursts. Chaos erupted as attackers scrambled to regroup, giving defenders precious time to counterattack. By dawn, the tide had shifted decisively. Cheers echoed through comms channels as survivors celebrated their hard-won triumph. That day marked a milestone. Humanity earned respect not through words but deeds. Across the galaxy, whispers turned to shouts proclaiming humans as saviors. Behind the scenes, however, tensions simmered. Not all coalition members trusted humanity's intentions. Some feared they'd simply replace one oppressor with another. To address these concerns, Admiral Vasquez initiated diplomatic summits, inviting representatives from allied worlds to voice their grievances. These meetings laid the groundwork for a new era of cooperation, ensuring that humanity's victories benefited everyone, not just themselves. We're nearing the climax of this epic saga. Trust me, you can't afford to miss what's coming next. The stakes have never been higher. The aftermath of the Cygnus Rift battle rippled across the cosmos, shaking the foundations of galactic power structures. For centuries, the dominant factions had operated under the assumption that their might was unassailable. But now, cracks began to form in their armor, not just from humanity's relentless assaults but from the growing unrest within their own territories. Oppressed civilizations, emboldened by Earth's example, rose up in defiance. Revolts erupted on dozens of worlds, stretching imperial forces thin and forcing them to divert resources away from the front lines. Humanity capitalized on this chaos with surgical precision. Commanders like Admiral Elena Vasquez, a tactical genius whose name became synonymous with fear among enemy ranks, orchestrated campaigns that exploited every weakness. Her flagship, the Aegis Dawn Dash, became a symbol of hope for the oppressed and a harbinger of doom for tyrants. One such operation targeted the supply chains of the Vrakthian hegemony, crippling their ability to wage war. By infiltrating key outposts and sabotaging logistics hubs, Vasquez's fleet left her adversaries scrambling to recover. Still, victories came at a price. The strain of constant warfare weighed heavily on those who fought. Soldiers returned home bearing not just physical wounds but emotional scars. Families mourned loved ones lost in battles far from Earth. Yet even in their grief, they found resolve. Stories of sacrifice fueled the collective will to endure, creating an unbreakable bond between those who remained and those who fell. This unity became humanity's backbone, propelling them forward despite mounting challenges. For instance, consider the story of Private Marcus Kane, a young recruit who volunteered after losing his family in an orbital bombardment. Initially unsure of his abilities, Kane distinguished himself during a critical mission to rescue stranded civilians. His bravery inspired fellow soldiers, reminding them why they fought. Such stories became rallying cries, reinforcing the belief that every life mattered in the grand struggle for freedom. As humanity's influence expanded, so too did its enemies' desperation. The KRYLL Collective, once content to observe from the shadows, emerged as a formidable adversary. Known for their mastery of psychological warfare, the KRYLL launched a campaign designed to destabilize human morale. Propaganda broadcasts filled communication channels, painting humanity as reckless aggressors responsible for untold suffering. Fake images of devastated alien cities circulated widely, sowing doubt among allies about whether supporting Earth was truly the right choice. But humanity refused to be cowed. Instead, they turned the tables. Intelligence operatives uncovered the source of the misinformation: a covert KRYLL base hidden within an asteroid field. A daring raid led by Captain Marcus Kane, a former smuggler turned hero, neutralized the facility in a matter of hours. Not only did they destroy the propaganda machine, but they also captured critical data detailing the KRYLL's plans. Armed with this intel, humanity preemptively dismantled several ambushes before they could unfold. Still, the psychological toll lingered. Doubts crept into the minds of some coalition members, questioning whether humanity's crusade was worth the cost. Internal debates grew heated, threatening to fracture the fragile alliance. Leaders scrambled to reassure their partners, emphasizing shared goals over individual grievances. It was a delicate balancing act. One misstep could undo years of progress. To maintain cohesion, humanity implemented cultural exchange programs, inviting representatives from allied worlds to visit Earth and experience firsthand the values driving their fight. These initiatives fostered understanding and strengthened bonds, proving that humanity's cause was rooted in empathy rather than arrogance. Amidst the political turmoil, a new threat loomed on the horizon. Deep within the void of the Perseus expanse, sensors detected an anomaly unlike anything recorded before. At first, it appeared to be a natural phenomenon, a collapsing star or rogue black hole. But further analysis revealed something far more sinister: a massive construct, larger than any known vessel, moving steadily toward populated sectors. Dubbed the Leviathan by analysts, it radiated an aura of dread that chilled even the bravest souls. Speculation ran rampant. Was it a weapon, a colony ship, or something else entirely? Humanity dispatched reconnaissance drones to gather intelligence, but none returned. Undeterred, Admiral Vasquez volunteered to lead an expedition herself. Her fleet approached cautiously, scanning the behemoth for weaknesses. What they discovered defied comprehension. The Leviathan wasn't a single entity, but a conglomerate of countless smaller ships fused together, forming a hive-like structure controlled by an unknown intelligence. Initial contact proved disastrous. Defensive systems obliterated 2 scout vessels before they could retreat. Realizing diplomacy was impossible, Vasquez ordered a full-scale assault. Wave after wave of fighters swarmed the Leviathan, targeting weak points identified by engineers. Explosions lit up its surface as beams of energy lashed out, incinerating attackers. Despite heavy losses, humanity pressed on, driven by the knowledge that failure meant annihilation. Stories of valor emerged from the chaos. Lieutenant Sarah Chun, piloting a damaged interceptor, drew fire away from her squadron, allowing them to regroup and launch a decisive strike. Though she perished in the process, her sacrifice inspired others to push harder, refusing to give up. Such acts of courage underscored humanity's resilience, proving that even in the face of overwhelming odds, they refused to yield. This clash would go down in history as one of humanity's greatest tests. And yet, it was only the beginning of a much larger mystery. The battle against the Leviathan dragged on for weeks, testing the limits of human endurance. Supplies dwindled, casualties mounted, and morale wavered. Yet amidst the carnage, a breakthrough emerged. Scientists analyzing debris from destroyed drones uncovered a pattern in the Leviathan's behavior, a cyclical vulnerability tied to its energy distribution network. If timed correctly, concentrated strikes could overload its core, causing catastrophic failure. Armed with this insight, humanity devised a bold plan. Sacrificing mobility for firepower, the Aegis Dawn transformed into a mobile fortress, bristling with experimental weapons. Escort ships formed a protective perimeter, drawing fire while Vasquez positioned her flagship for the final strike. As the Leviathan unleashed its full arsenal, the fleet absorbed blow after blow, buying precious seconds for the admiral to line up her shot. When the moment came, time seemed to stand still. The Aegis Dawn fired a barrage of quantum-tipped missiles directly into the exposed core. A blinding flash illuminated the battlefield as the Leviathan imploded, scattering fragments across the void. Cheers erupted over comms channels, but they were short-lived. Scattered signals emanating from the wreckage hinted at survivors, or perhaps something worse. What lay beyond the Leviathan's destruction? No one knew. But one thing was certain. Humanity's journey was far from over. For days following the battle, researchers studied the Leviathan's remains, piecing together clues about its origins. They discovered evidence suggesting it was created by an ancient civilization long thought extinct. This revelation raised troubling questions. Were there other relics lurking in the depths of space? Could humanity handle whatever else awaited them? In the wake of the Leviathan's demise, the galaxy entered a period of uneasy calm. Factions that once dismissed humanity now regarded them with wary respect. Coalition forces regrouped, consolidating gains made during the conflict. Liberated worlds began rebuilding, their skies free of oppression for the first time in generations. Yet beneath the surface, tensions simmered. Old rivalries resurfaced, threatening to reignite the flames of war. It was during this fragile peace that humanity faced its ultimate test. A delegation representing multiple species arrived at Earth's doorstep, seeking an audience with its leaders. Their proposal was unprecedented. A united galactic council, where all voices, human and non-human alike, would have equal say in shaping the future. For many, it was a dream realized. For others, it was a betrayal of everything they'd fought for. Debates raged across Earth and beyond. Some argued that joining the council meant surrendering hard-won autonomy. Others saw it as an opportunity to forge a brighter future. In the end, humanity chose unity not because it was easy, but because it was right. The decision marked a turning point, proving that their fight had always been about more than conquest. It was about creating a better tomorrow for all. This is the moment everything changes. Don't look away now. With the formation of the Galactic Council, humanity stepped into a new era. Gone were the days of isolation and mistrust. Instead, cooperation became the cornerstone of interstellar relations. Representatives from Earth worked alongside delegates from countless species, crafting policies aimed at fostering peace and prosperity. Trade routes reopened, cultural exchanges flourished, and scientific advancements accelerated as knowledge flowed freely between civilizations. Yet not everyone welcomed this shift. Hardliners within various factions viewed the Council as a threat to their power. Shadowy organizations plotted to undermine its authority, sowing discord through sabotage and subterfuge. Humanity found itself thrust into the role of mediator, striving to maintain balance amid rising tensions. Diplomats like Ambassador Sophia Chun became household names, celebrated for their ability to navigate treacherous waters without resorting to violence. Despite these challenges, progress continued. New alliances formed, strengthening the Council's reach. Projects once deemed impossible, like terraforming barren planets or constructing Dyson spheres, became realities thanks to collaborative efforts. Humanity's contributions earned them admiration and respect, solidifying their place among the stars. But old habits die hard. Somewhere in the darkness, forces conspired to undo everything achieved thus far. Would humanity rise to meet this new challenge, or falter under the weight of expectation? The first sign of trouble came quietly, a series of minor incidents dismissed as isolated events. Ships vanished without explanation, trade convoys encountered mysterious delays, and diplomatic envoys reported strange occurrences during negotiations. At first glance, these anomalies seemed unrelated. But when analyzed collectively, a disturbing pattern emerged. Someone was systematically destabilizing the Council from within. Investigations pointed to a shadow network operating outside official channels. Dubbed the Veil, this clandestine organization consisted of rogue elements from multiple species, united by a shared desire to restore the old order. Their methods were subtle yet devastating, exploiting loopholes in Council protocols to sow chaos. Entire sectors teetered on the brink of collapse as resources disappeared and trust eroded. Humanity took the lead in combating this insidious threat. Task forces comprising the best minds and warriors scoured the galaxy for clues, following leads that often ended in dead ends. Each failure only strengthened their resolve. Breakthroughs came slowly but surely, piecing together a picture of the Veil's operations. When the opportunity arose to strike at its heart, humanity seized it with characteristic determination. What followed was a high-stakes game of cat and mouse, pitting ingenuity against cunning. Every move carried consequences, pushing humanity to its limits. The final confrontation with the Veil unfolded in the heart of the Sagittarius Spiral, a region notorious for its treacherous terrain. Hidden deep within a nebula shrouded in electromagnetic interference lay their stronghold, a labyrinthine complex shielded from detection. To breach it required not just brute force but finesse, leveraging every advantage humanity had gained over decades of conflict. A joint task force spearheaded the assault, combining human ingenuity with alien expertise. Engineers developed stealth technologies capable of penetrating the nebula's defenses, while tacticians devised strategies tailored to exploit structural weaknesses. Pilots trained tirelessly, perfecting maneuvers needed to navigate the hazardous environment. Every detail mattered. There could be no room for error. When the attack commenced, chaos reigned supreme. Swarms of drones overwhelmed perimeter defenses, allowing ground teams to infiltrate the facility. Inside, they faced relentless resistance, from automated turrets to genetically enhanced mercenaries. Each corridor claimed lives, but reinforcements poured in without hesitation. Sacrifices were made willingly, knowing the stakes hung in the balance. At last, the central chamber came into view. There, surrounded by holographic displays mapping the Veil's influence, stood its leader, an enigmatic figure cloaked in shadows. Defeating them would require more than firepower. It demanded understanding. Humanity's representatives stepped forward, offering a chance for redemption. The outcome hinged on choices made in that pivotal moment. The resolution of the standoff marked a turning point not just for humanity but for the entire galaxy. Whether through negotiation or sheer willpower, humanity dismantled the Veil's grip on galactic affairs. Its remnants dissolved into obscurity, leaving behind lessons learned and bridges rebuilt. Trust, though fragile, began to take root anew. Life moved forward, shaped by the sacrifices of those who came before. Monuments rose to honor fallen heroes, their stories passed down through generations. Schools taught the importance of unity and resilience, ensuring future leaders understood the cost of freedom. Humanity's legacy became one of perseverance, a testament to what can be achieved when courage meets conviction. Yet the galaxy remained vast and unpredictable. New challenges awaited around every corner, demanding vigilance and adaptability. Humanity embraced this reality, ready to face whatever lay ahead. After all, they had already proven themselves capable of overcoming the impossible. For example, consider the emergence of a new threat on the fringes of explored space. Reports trickled in of strange phenomena disrupting communications and navigation systems. While initially dismissed as natural occurrences, further investigation revealed signs of intelligent interference. Humanity, ever vigilant, prepared to confront this mystery head-on, demonstrating that their spirit of exploration and discovery remained undiminished. Today, humanity stands tall among the stars, not as conquerors but as pioneers. Their journey serves as a reminder that greatness isn't defined by strength alone, but by compassion, innovation, and an unwavering belief in a better future. From humble beginnings on a pale blue dot to champions of justice across the cosmos, they showed the galaxy real hell, and then offered a hand to help rebuild. This story is far from over. As humanity ventures deeper into the unknown, they carry with them the lessons of the past. They understand that true power lies not in domination but in collaboration, not in fear but in hope. Each step forward brings new challenges, but also new opportunities to shape the destiny of the galaxy. If you enjoyed this epic tale, don't forget to subscribe for more stories that explore the boundless possibilities of our universe. Together, we'll continue uncovering the mysteries of the stars.